You're watching Force 13's live streaming service. This is Force 13 Live. We're looking at live imagery here of early visibles of Hurricane Melissa, which currently, according to the National Hurricane Center's last update, 140 mile per hour winds and pressure up to 952 millibars based on recon data, although we're running a little bit lower, 948, giving the benefit of the doubt. Well, a very surprising turn of events this morning, even though the storm looks extremely impressive. In fact, raw satellite estimates have it well into the Category 5 range. Recon data, the actual planes that are flying through the storm, are yet to find a storm as strong, anywhere near as strong as that. The first pass this morning that occurred within the last hour barely even, in fact it didn't even support Category 4 winds, which would mean that if this is only a Category 3, it's the most impressive one I've ever seen by a country mile. However, I do think they will get some stronger winds in their next passes. They haven't yet sampled the northeastern quadrant. They've not yet seen the southwest either. They've just gone in through the storm once from the northwest to the southeast, and we'll be getting more recon data during the course of this hour of coverage. It's just after 8 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the US East Coast, and it's also the same time zone in Jamaica. My name is Nathan Foy, and we're joined by quite a few people with us at this hour. We've got Jack, Blaine, Declan, and Ethan with us at this point. Let's first talk to Jack. We've not heard from you yet during the course of this storm, so I'm wondering what your thoughts are on Hurricane Melissa as we look at it right now.
Well, I mean, the storm's certainly impressive to say the least. It's impressed me, but I was expecting something like this to turn out happening anyway from the beginning, because when the models started to, they were really, what's the word? Unpredictable. They were completely like chalk and cheese of each other.
Yep.
In agreement. Barely at all, and that just felt kind of ominous to me. So I knew that the storm was going to get strong anyway, and some models were going completely ridiculous.
They totally were, and
yeah,
well, I would say still are, but they actually really aren't anymore.
But the storm, I think last time I looked at all the models, it had like every single one directly through Jamaica in some way or another.
Yeah. And the model consensus at this point is still about 90% Jamaica landfall ensembles. I don't think that was ever 100%. You're showing us radar imagery right now as well.
I am, and I think I don't know if I have this right. Yeah. Okay. It seems like the northeastern side, which is the one they're going to be going through, seems to be quite the impactful side of the storm.
Yeah. NOAA 2 are on the northeastern side right now, and anytime they'll be taking in that turn to the left and then going in on the northeastern quadrant, and then I assume from there it will be through to the southwest. Earlier on, recon got only, I say only in inverted commas, 115 knot flight level winds, which would only correspond to a Category 3, and iDropsons earlier saw a pressure of 952 millibars with only a 4 knot wind. So it does seem as though around 951 would be the number to go for on this storm right now. So we are surprised that Melissa has not strengthened further than it already has, especially when we take a look at the formidable satellite imagery in front of us here this morning. Ethan, you've been watching this closely as well. You were watching the raw ADT numbers spiral.
Yeah, it's obviously a satellite method that goes in and looks at a wide variety of parameters, the cloud tops, the eye temperature, the whole likes of that. And it gets a number based off of calculating all of those values. And it was saying that the storm had winds of 180 miles per hour raw. Of course, that's a raw image that's not sustained over a time frame. Of course, Melissa isn't anywhere near that because we've got reconnaissance planes in the storm, and of course they take the utmost precedence, besides surface observations, of course. So obviously the recon planes are going to be what we're mainly going to be looking at in terms of intensity. And I do think that the hurricane is still a lot stronger than what they've found so far. I do think that there's probably stronger winds elsewhere in the storm. They did pass through a section of the Eyewall that did go through and get a dry air entrainment into the storm. So that's probably why they got a little bit of lower winds, because they were finding thunderstorms that were really recovering from that intrusion.
They've just started embarking on that northeastern pass now, so they're on their way in. Rumours overnight that an Eyewall replacement cycle occurred. I'm not seeing that at all. I don't know about you guys.
No.
Not what I've seen, no.
No, and no sign of it in the most recent recon pass either. Not at all. A real classic V shape actually, in as the plane passed through the eye. We've also got
Very
Blaine
interesting. I'm
with
just
us right now as well. Yes, go ahead, and then we'll introduce Blaine.
I am just looking on flight radar because I know that what's it called? The plane is called NOAA 42. The call sign is.
Yep.
And it was on flight radar, and I'm also seeing that there is an American Airlines Max 8 about to land in Montego Bay.
Oh, really?
And it's got
closed?
It's got 9601 as its flight number. So, and there's a few arrivals coming in today that are all look to be charter flight numbers. There's a WestJet from Toronto. There's an American from Charlotte, a United from Orlando. So I'm going to guess that there's a lot of airlines sending planes here to evacuate people at a last moment effort. So this is good on the airlines for doing this.
Well, it may well be to evacuate their own staff if they're stuck there.
That is true.
Here's some more visible imagery of the storm this morning. Really looking quite impressive on this view. Blaine, you're also with us right now. Hi there. Your thoughts on Melissa, another powerful hurricane for the Atlantic season?
Well, hi everyone from Cape Town. I definitely think that Melissa is looking quite impressive, very open eye on satellite imagery. And I just, to be honest, in my opinion, I'm not surprised that it's gotten to this point. And I just pray for all the people in Jamaica right now that are, I just hope that they get to safety. But I definitely think I wasn't expecting it to get to Category 5, but I was expecting it to at least get to a Category 4. And obviously, I mean, some people... Obviously, as we mentioned, some models and stuff are disagreeing that we even got a Category 4 on our hands. But based on just what I'm seeing I can't make a definitive synopsis based on the just satellite imagery. But I definitely think it is looking at least maybe about to become a Category 4.
It really depends on that recon data.
Yeah, exactly. And
because if you're just looking at satellite, right, if this storm was all the other way across the Atlantic and we didn't have recon for this, we'd be actually calling this a borderline Category 5 right now.
Yeah, definitely, I do agree on that. But yeah, that is my opinion. If I mean, I don't really, I maybe doubt it, but if anyone from Jamaica is watching, please get to safety. Uh, and just look after yourself and stay safe out there. And yeah,
Getting
that's
closer and
it from me.
closer at this point. The storm, just to give you a little idea on position right now from areas in Jamaica. The closest point of land is currently the southernmost point of Jamaica, near Portland Point, 151 kilometers. Actually, no, not quite. There is one little area as well further east that's slightly closer. That would be the area around, I think it's Pamphret, 150 kilometers from the center of the storm, and also Listens 150 kilometers, 151. Kingston is 170 kilometers from the center of Melissa, and Montego Bay is around 266 kilometers from the center of the storm. At this point, the storm is also closer to Santiago de Cuba than it is to Port-au-Prince, Haiti. So it is 393 kilometers from Santiago de Cuba, 425 kilometers from Guantanamo, and 494 from Port-au-Prince, Haiti. It is also 496 kilometers away from the easternmost islands of the Caymans. So that gives you an idea of where the storm is compared to all of these areas right now. If you missed the news of the latest warning information, well, obviously the hurricane warning is in effect for Jamaica, a hurricane watch in effect for the southwestern part of Haiti, but also for the Cuban provinces of Granma, Santiago de Cuba, Guantanamo, and Holguin. A tropical storm warning for also that southwestern portion of Haiti as well, as has been the case for a long time at this point. You will also notice that the NHC are explicitly forecasting a major hurricane landfall in Cuba. Their last update, just loading up that forecast advisory again, I assume it's a Cat 3. That landfall, 120 miles per hour, maybe stronger, because that is the M point that's already inland there. It will still, according to the NHC forecast, be a Category 4 when it emerges off the coast of Jamaica.
I just wanted to make a comment because you didn't mention Haiti and Dominican Republic there. I mean, depending on who you are, it's a reliable source or not, but I did see recently some videos from the Weather Channel about how I think it's mostly Dominican Republic area, but some mountains between Dominican Republic and Haiti are going to get some flash flooding from Melissa because of orthographic lift, obviously. So if you're in that area, just be aware of that.
Elevated rainfall amounts for this whole region. Obviously, those mountains, it's going to enhance the rainfall, but some parts of Jamaica here could be on to receiving more than 1,000 millimeters of rainfall, or 40 inches, during the course of this storm. Some of it will already be beginning. As you can see, the storm is really starting to make its presence felt. Be interested to know just how those wind speeds are looking over there in Jamaica. If you give me a little bit of time, I might be able to get some extra data for that. In the meantime, I don't know if anyone else wants to speak at this point, or whether we might just go to some viewer questions, but the floor is open.
I definitely, I will just say one thing. I definitely think, yeah, based on what you're saying, Jamaica is definitely starting, especially with the outer bands right now, is definitely starting to get some of its rain bands, and I definitely do think those areas will probably get more than based on models are saying Haiti and Dominican Republic are going to get.
Haiti.
But whatever. Shush.
Haiti.
Haiti, sorry.
Yep.
But I definitely do think that those areas, Jamaica is going to probably get more rain than Haiti and Dominican Republic. But I do see here northeastern quadrant of the storm. It looks like a couple. Let me just see here. A couple. 171 kilometers or 106 miles if you're using freedom units. Southwest of Port-au-Prince in Haiti. They are, I mean, this is within the next 12 hours. I do see there is quite a lot of rain predicted there. That does look like a mountain range based on the map. So I definitely do think going back to what that whole video that I saw said about the orthographic lift causing more rain is definitely probably going to flourish there. But the rest, if you go further inland into those two Caribbean countries, it doesn't look too as promising. But there's definitely some form of orthographic lift in enhancing precipitation there.
You can see some of it there on the eastern edge. So even though the airports are closed, Norman Manley International still reporting weather conditions. They're currently at a temperature of 25 degrees Celsius with a wind speed of 12 miles per hour as of the top of the hour, or maybe an hour ago actually. So that's the latest from there. So winds getting up a little bit, but 12 miles per hour at this point in Kingston. The storm really looking formidable on satellite imagery right now. We're waiting for that recon pass from the northeastern side. They are nearly there actually. Northeastern side, so far they haven't caught anything too special, but they're heading in, and in a few more minutes we should have some more data.
Just a comment based on that with on the airport. I am seeing here that if you look at scheduled flights next 7 days, they do definitely have a lot of departures. So, like going back on what Ethan said, I definitely do think they are either trying to get some staff out or just trying to maybe evacuate some people from Jamaica right now. We have about 20 airports served over the next 7 days and 16 countries, with the busiest route, I mean, this is unrelated, going to Fort Lauderdale.
From Jamaica?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So just a comment on that. But it definitely does look that because of Melissa, there is barely any flights going into. Well, there's like obviously the recon, and then that American Airlines flight coming in from Miami.
Yeah.
To Jamaica.
That eye's looking really warm, Ethan.
Yes, incredibly warm. It's also very dry.
Usually go hand in hand, yeah. I know that earlier on I was seeing an eye temperature of 14 Celsius. I did hear from someone earlier it was 17. So that temperature is rising up there. A warm eye, certainly a big sign of an intense storm, especially when it's got those cloud tops all around it to back it up. Interesting, I'm seeing maybe a slight break there on that northeastern side, which is literally where the recon is about to arrive, so be interesting to see what happens there.
The eye's radius right now is around 17 kilometers.
And that's interesting because when we got those first vortex data messages last night, Ethan, about 40 kilometers, so less than half that size.
I figured that it would contract a little bit.
Yeah.
These
And
things
that's
always
that deep
do.
voice that Nathan was talking about from Jack.
Slightly.
As you were reading out
Mhm.
distances, I just used real earth to add like
Yeah, I saw you doing
these.
that. You plotted those
Yeah,
distances on the map there.
I was checking.
Well, if you've got any comments or questions for us right now in the chat, feel free to send them in because this is part of the service. We want to make sure that everyone's got the question answered. And if you've got any info for us as well, that's obviously going to be very beneficial. Start your message with Force 13, it will light up for us in the chat. Hurricane Anthony Bronze says, how big is the eye of the hurricane and what is the temperature? So we've sort of just been covering that. According to, who said it? 17 kilometers.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember who said
yeah,
that.
that
Was that
was
you,
Jack.
Jack? 17
Yeah,
kilometer
Jack.
radius, which is 11 miles. And the temperature, from what we're hearing, is going to be somewhere in the mid-teens, possibly on the increase. Of course, it depends which satellite provider you use as well, because I know that the Force 13's air imagery, I don't think that scale is correct, because I did an eye sample for Melissa before, and it was reckoning that the eye temperature was nearly 30 degrees Celsius, which it isn't.
Oof.
I used the Ram's air imagery to ascertain the eye temperature. And let me just do a little check here for you now, everyone. Latest image is depicting, just got to do some math here, if my computer responds. It's certainly warmer than it was when I did some of my checks earlier, so it must be getting close to 20 degrees. Yeah, latest eye temperature around 18 degrees Celsius as of 20 minutes ago.
Hurricane, I'm sorry, one Bron 98 Gaming
No, we
3
just had
says,
Oh no,
yeah,
they asked another question. I'm sorry.
yeah. It's possible
120.
for the hurricane to hit Florida. Is it possible for the hurricane to hit Florida or Bermuda?
Florida, no. Bermuda, maybe.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that.
Ethan, you
120
want
knot. 120 knot flight level for recon.
Okay, well
That's
that's
well out.
That's a bit more like it then. Still not what we would expect, though.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's kind of surprising.
So 120 knots, a little bit higher than what they were getting earlier on the pass just before today's stream. That would mean, that would still mean a high NCAT 3.
Yeah.
Which is baffling when we look at the satellite imagery, which depicts, you place it anywhere where we only use satellite data and not because the planes aren't there, you would call it a category, borderline category 5 at least. But there is that little break there in that northeastern side that I'm seeing right now. What do you think that is?
Give me a sec.
Like, Ethan, do you think it's dry air?
Not sure.
Could be.
Extrapolated pressure is down though from the pass.
Okay. What is it?
Stand by.
Okay.
948 looks like.
All right.
948.4 is the lowest.
Looking really good on satellite, although it's only when you zoom out do you realize that the storm is not that large. But certainly going to be giving a serious punch to Jamaica here. I mean, that is already set in stone, even if it's a category 3 landfall. But I would still say at the minute that we are looking at a strong Category 4 landfall by the looks of things, which Jamaica has never received before. The strongest direct landfall, as we were talking about in last night's stream, is Hurricane Gilbert, which did it as a borderline Category 4. But of course, some stronger storms did pass very close by, like Beryl and Allen.
Yeah.
Alright, I've just gotten that data through at my end now as well. So, interesting. Not much movement in terms of the storm motion either. Would you say it's westerly still?
Yeah.
I think it's a bit northwesterly, not really. Probably west-northwest.
Let's just go back
That's
to
something.
some of the imagery on the 413 website for a bit of a longer loop. Yeah,
I feel
looks
like it's
westerly.
starting to turn more to northwest.
Yeah.
Starting to.
Okay, interesting. We'll see if that
Plains Point does, to be fair. West
continues.
northwest.
Some more
Yeah.
comments then. The satellite imagery doesn't really match with the recon number. I thought it would be a Category 5. Well, yeah. It sort of it actually reminds me of Matthew at peak right now.
Yeah, that massive convective burst to its east.
Yeah.
Is a Category 5 landfall expected? Well, we've put down on the bottom the percentage chances like we often do. Still only at about 7%, which sounds low, but when you think about probabilities, it's actually a fairly high number.
Let's not forget that this storm still has 2 days till it makes landfall.
Yeah.
So it's got plenty of time to undergo an hour replacement cycle and then re-strengthen after that too, if it wanted to.
Someone is asking, is Melissa moving slowly?
Absolutely. Its whole life.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, Ethan. Eyewall replacement cycles, though, if the storm already is fighting off something here, it opens the storm up very vulnerable during an hour replacement cycle, and it could botch the whole thing.
It absolutely could. Or it could be just fine, and it could have a very strong peak afterwards.
Yeah.
Way hard to tell. We can't tell until that happens, unfortunately.
I mean, these latest frames.
About tracking these things.
Yeah, these latest frames really starting to show that eyewall looking a bit ragged. I'm just no signs of an eyewall replacement cycle from recon data, but I don't really know what the deal is there.
What I've actually realized, it looks like a bit of a front off here. The actual real outer bands of Melissa are stretching here. It looks like some of the whole Bahamas almost a bit. So it's definitely I think a bit maybe there's some wind shear coming in.
Well, wind shear's never far away. I mean, its whole life it's been like that, but it's successfully fought that off at this point.
What is the wind shear right now, actually?
I have no idea, but I'm not seeing much of it. It's off there towards the west. You see that little... you normally see the wind shear effect going on the western periphery of the storm there.
Yeah, see that.
Some more questions here as well. Will this impact the UK? Well, actually not as strange a question as it sounds. At times, the GFS has called for its extratropical remnant to get up to Europe, so we'll wait and see on that. But obviously it would not be a hurricane, and it would not be hurricane strength, most likely. Will the wind radius expand after passing Cuba, just like what the GFS showed these last few days? You may remember on the early GFS model runs when the storm was going through when it was projecting the storm to go through Hispaniola. On the other side, it stalled for a while, and it absolutely ballooned in size to enormous proportions, bigger than Sandy. That is no longer expected, but the storm will obviously increase in size at every landfall, because that tends to be what happens. If it forces an Eyewall replacement cycle, that increases the wind field usually, and that could happen twice, once with Jamaica, twice with Cuba. So we could be looking at a much larger storm on the other side, but we're not looking at Sandy proportions anymore, but we are looking at a larger storm.
Nathan, just going back to wind shear, I do see. Oh, what the hell just happened? Okay.
I have no idea what happened.
No, somehow I just this whole app glitched out and I went all the way to Singapore somehow. So it looks like on the northeastern side right now there is quite a bit of wind shear. The GFS is saying, but the European icon says northwestern side. No, sorry, northeastern, more like northeast, and then European models are saying south.
I'd be careful with those graphics. These storms can produce their own wind shear as well.
Yeah, true. But that's just going based off of obviously some weather models. So just take it with a pinch of salt. But I just realized that now.
Yeah. Live imagery right now, looking at visible, and I have to say it is on all viewers, visible, infrared. The eye's looking more ragged. Recon, when they went through before, got 120 knot flight level winds on the northeastern side of the eye. We don't have. Did anyone have drop sound? I don't have that just yet, but they did put in a drop zone in the northeastern Eyewall. It was still 101 knot winds at the surface, and in the upper levels they were getting 137 knot winds at the 919 millibar level, which would be approximately 500 meters from the surface. So that's going to be interesting. Obviously, we look out for those winds mixing down to the surface. That would be just about getting into Category 5 territory, but that is currently 500 meters up, roughly 1,500 to 2,000 feet.
97 knot southwest quadrant.
What's that?
97 knot in the southwestern quadrant, flight level winds.
Oh, that's what they've just got now? Gee, that's low.
Yeah.
This storm is confusing everyone. Something's not right with Melissa right now. Something's holding it back a little bit. Looking really good on satellite imagery, as we keep mentioning, but the actual observations that are going on inside the storm leave quite a bit to be desired. So far, nothing really to corroborate a Category 4 storm right now even. Recon data suggesting that this is actually a high-end Category 3, even though that satellite presentation looks more like a borderline Category 5. So real question marks as to what is going on with Melissa right now. No signs of it being an Eyewall replacement cycle. Possibility of some dry air intrusion. I really doubt it's wind shear. There's nothing wrong with the sea surface temperatures or the oceanic heat content. So a little mystery here over why Melissa is not as strong as we feel it actually should be. Obviously, we're saying this objectively. Of course, on a more subjective human point of view, so far it's better news that the storm hasn't strengthened as much as it could have done by this point, because this could easily have been a Category 5 already. However, that is still on the forecast, and the National Hurricane Center in their last forecast advisory had not one but two forecast points now showing a Category 5 peak. I believe that would be the 2 a.m. and 2 p.m. Monday points on that forecast cone is where they have it as a Category 5. We have an eye drop sond, I believe, from that latest pass, and they have gotten 953 millibars with a 14 knot wind. So again, staying pretty constant with that pressure in the low 950s. Which again is a bit of a surprise, because if we go with what we would have gone with on satellite estimates alone, with the Caicos fix earlier, it was going with 155 and a pressure estimate of 934 millibars. That's sort of how we feel that this storm, where we feel this storm should be right now, looking at its satellite presentation. But recon, which obviously trumps satellite imagery in the priority, obviously they're much more direct observations, going with a high-end Category 3 by the looks of things, and a pressure estimate of somewhere around 951 millibars. Really mysterious, actually, as God Rhythm said in the comments just a moment ago. Start your message with 413 all in text. We'll be able to take some comments and questions during this stream. A little bit of a slower pace this morning, I suppose, because it is morning. But we'll see what people have got to say about that. Yeah, people shouting, it's not a Cat 3. Well, Recon Data is not supporting any Category 4 force winds. Now, there may be some that they haven't yet found. And if I was the National Hurricane Center, I would be erring on that and would be keeping this storm as a Category 4. And I think they'll keep it. I think they'll keep it at 140 for the foreseeable until they get evidence that the storm is stronger than that. So I think that's, if you're thinking of the National Hurricane Center's thinking there, that's what they're going to be doing. So we'll see where that ends up.
Yeah.
But yeah, as one person mentioned there from our earlier, from an earlier drop sond, it was at 919 millibar level that they got 137 knot winds, which would be Category 5, but obviously that is around 500 meters off the surface, about 1,500 to 2,000 feet. Obviously that needs to get down to the surface and sustain itself for over a minute to classify it as a Category 5 storm. So a little bit of a way before it is able to do that. Any surprises in that recon data then, Ethan, from your point of view?
No. It's a little bit shocking how low the winds are compared to the satellite appearance, of course. There's always going to be that aspect. But I do think that the storm has more time to clean itself up, so to speak, and continue intensifying. It's got time. It's got the space. If you notice on satellite, the core of the storm is a little bit small. It's not a very big hurricane. And to me at this point, not really being impacted by the mountains of Jamaica at all for the time being.
Yes, of course, that will become a factor later on down the line, but as of right now, land interaction is not going to be an issue. What are we talking about?
Dare I say that land interaction won't even start to take place until, I don't know, within 6 hours of landfall, if the storm keeps up this size?
Tuesday at this rate.
Yeah, well, it's got plenty of time. Only limiting thing is, of course, an Eyewall placement cycle. And as we alluded to earlier, that could either make or break the peak of this storm, of course.
But there is still something wrong with Melissa. You look at the left-hand side there, it looks a little bit more less symmetrical. Northeastern side looks to just be hanging on there with that convection and we're not getting any big convective blow-ups around there. It's just stabilizing, really. I think there must be some dry air intrusion on that northeastern side.
It was earlier.
Yeah.
That was,
When you look out a little
yeah.
bit more towards the right-hand side of that break, potential break, it continues out through the rest of the donut, the black area there, the eye wall, and you can see a little bit. It's hard to explain, but a few little lines that, to me, that shouts dry air intrusion.
Mm.
I mean, when it can only be one of two or three things, and it's not an eyewall replacement cycle because that's what recon is showing. There's no signs of a double eyewall, and of course we've got radar as well, which isn't really showing it. So it's got to be dry air intrusion, and even so, though, still a big surprise that the storm is actually empirically here not as strong as what the satellites suggest.
I could try and get out some water vapor imagery. That might help.
Whilst you do that, let's take a question from Weather Alert. Do we think it could follow the CMC model being the best case scenario for Jamaica, even though the GFS shows landfall in the Euro? Can we look at it but ignore the strength? I didn't really get that part, but we will look at models in just a second. In the meantime, Jack's fetching us something, I think. Water vapor imagery.
Yes. Might be helpful if I did that.
A long length water vapor loop here.
Yeah. Oh no, I've just.
Yeah, you've just
might have
ruined
to
it.
redo it. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Oh,
Jack.
that's interesting.
Oh,
As soon as I search up
There we are.
Jamaica live webcam on YouTube, our stream pops up.
Oh, not quite a webcam, but sure. So Jack's having to load up all that imagery. Well, we're not waiting for that. But what we will do now is pop over to some of the models and we'll take a look at what is happening in the area. But first we're going to take a look at all of the hurricane models. Okay, well that is interesting. So these models may be incorrect because we're looking, first of all, I just pick it in the order that they're shown. The HWRF there, initializing the storm at 929 millibars and a pressure of and a wind of 133 knots. Well, that isn't true. So this is initialized the storm too strong, and it forecasts not even category 5 actually. Oh yes, it does. Category 5 very shortly, but that's a busted model because the initialization is all wrong. What about the HMON? It's a bit better, initializing the storm at 940 millibars, wind of nearly 150 miles per hour, and just moving around really slowly and not actually strengthening anymore. So staying around the category 4 range and then weakens just before landfall. Category 3 landfall weakens a lot over Jamaica. Category 1 on the other side into Cuba as a category 1. Much larger after that through the southeastern Bahamas. Storm force winds for Bermuda. Still a hurricane at that point, and huge as well. And really loses its shape after that. Well, the more up-to-date models, the HAFS-A, initializing at 947 millibars and 150 miles per hour, which again is too strong. And based on that, it gets to category 5 very shortly, then weakens a bit. Does it come back? Yes, it does. It does come back. Oh, look at that. Really intensifying right up until landfall after weakening initially, and that is a 180 mile an hour landfall in Jamaica with a pressure of 913 millibars. Yeah. On the other side of that, category 2 landfall in Cuba and then on towards the Bahamas, much larger once again. Bermuda. Looks like they're going to get a hurricane according to that HAFS-A model, but sometimes that model can be wacky. But yeah, it forecasts 180 miles per hour at landfall. I would hard doubt on that one at the moment, but stranger things have happened. HEFSB, is that going to be even crazier? No, actually. 917 millibars at peak, and wind of 175 miles per hour, weakens just a little bit before landfall, but that again is a Category 5 landfall for Jamaica towards the western side of the island, and then the second landfall in Cuba is borderline Category 2, and then really messy after that, but large structure. And yeah, Bermuda getting hurricane force winds down, the storm actually passing to the west, which is a big surprise. That's according to those hurricane models, which are a bit crazy though. Euro. Let me just finish this first, looking at the track from the Euro. Pretty much what the NHC is saying. Much further east later on its track. No, it isn't. It hits Bermuda as well. Keep watching Bermuda. This might get interesting for you as well. Blaine, go ahead.
I have a couple webcams pulled up here from Jamaica right now, if you want to take a look.
Yeah, give me just a second on that.
Okay.
People wanted me to show the CMC as well, but I don't actually have it working here. But I wouldn't really bother with the CMC. Let's see what Blaine has got for us right now.
So this is a webcam.
Yeah, we actually have that viewpoint on ours as well. So we'll show that one over here. There's the harbour view from Kingston right now. Can't really see much going on there with the very wide angle. Blaine's also showing another viewpoint here. So it's raining. Definitely some rain there. Looking
This is a transport center in the center of Kingston.
Yep.
You can actually see if are we on live? Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
You can definitely see it's been raining for a while. What are those people doing?
Yeah, I don't think the traffic rules are very strong in Jamaica, from what I've gathered so far. But yep, they're certainly getting some significant rainfall there, which is ongoing. Of course, this is just really the edge of the storm, as you can see on that satellite imagery. Really, it's going to get a lot worse for those areas. Be interested to know which places are getting the heaviest rain right now. If anyone is in sort of like Kingston and east of there and inland, how your conditions are right now, I'd be interested to know. Let's just see if we've got any other questions here. I haven't really seen much there at this point. But let's just take a look then. Actually, give me a second, and then we'll cross to the GFS model and just have a little sweep around the world over the next 16 days like we do on our tropical weather bulletins, just to show you everything that's going on out there right now, but that will be a few minutes away. So whilst we wait for that, let's just see if there's any more info from Recon. Well, they've sped out to the southwestern side. Small wind field, isn't it, Ethan? That, you know, they've only gone 10 minutes and they're already out of the tropical storm wind field.
Yes, it is a very tight storm, so that does lead me to believe that any Eyewall pushing cycle might be a little bit quicker than what we might expect.
I'm actually seeing here too, based on because you did ask just now, radar is showing quite a lot of rain, Dominican Republic and Haiti. And actually, I don't know if that's related to the storm. But also
partly, yeah.
Yeah, some by Turks and Caicos. Surprisingly, too. So, but it also looks like Kensington and
Kingston.
Kingston. Sorry, Kensington. I don't know why I said that. Long Bay, Alligator Pond, Maypen.
Sorry, what are we looking at here?
This
is that a rain accumulation chart?
This is rain and thunder. This is according to the European models.
Over what time period?
Over the next 3 hours.
Oh, right.
you
So,
can
that's
see all-
rainfall in the next 3 hours.
Yep. So about an inch is going to fall. Long Bay, Spanish Town also quite close to an inch.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can definitely tell that it's definitely closing in on Jamaica over here. I actually looking really pretty on satellite, I must say. So
Let's have another little look on some of our other
It looks
viewers.
a bit like jagged.
yeah, it does.
I think that might just be. Is that just my like the bad resolution, or is it really?
Not sure.
But what do you mean?
Or the eye doesn't look that like symmetrical.
It may be losing that symmetry on the western side. I'm not fully sure right now.
I am not either. I'm just looking at this
Just a comment there. Could it be a
bad
Category
resolution.
5 at the next update? I would say no. Like we've been saying here, even though the storm looks very good on satellite imagery, if we were using satellites alone, once again, this would be a borderline Category 5 at this point, and we were expecting that Recon, when the plane flew in, reconnaissance plane, we were really expecting for it to have numbers to back that up. But Recon went in there, and they've only found winds supporting a strong Category 3, which is really surprising to me, and a pressure estimate near 951 millibars. NHC will keep it as a Category 4 because obviously it's really bad messaging to put it down a category when it's still such a big threat. And it doesn't mean that the storm has even weakened, by the way. It just means that the satellite estimates have been wrong, which is what the NHC were basing their last update on, in which they upped it to 140 miles an hour. Although, hold on, actually, is that true? Ethan, I didn't quite see the end of last night's recon. I don't know if you did. Did they get stronger winds late last night than they have this morning?
No idea myself. Pretty much after last night's stream, I went to bed and crashed. At that point, I had been up for 16, 17 hours.
Damn, so none of us know, actually, whether Recon did get stronger winds towards the end of last night or not. I don't think they did, or at least level with what we've seen this morning. I'm pretty sure the NHC used satellite imagery, because clearly, when you see a satellite imagery improvement after the Recon pass, you're going to up the intensity. And then Recon come in again and find that the storm has not actually strengthened.
Nathan, I actually found a webcam here from Maypen, which is one of the areas that are, based on this map, are getting the worst hit in Jamaica right now in terms of rain.
Sure.
If you want to take a look. Doesn't look like it's raining currently.
No.
But yeah, I mean, models can be really different from reality sometimes.
Yeah, but
yeah.
you know, I mean, lots of places in Jamaica here are going to be getting heavy rainfall very soon over the course of today, but especially beyond today.
Yeah. Looks like someone actually, interestingly enough, said in this stream chat of this webcam, said that they think it's going to make landfall around Rocky Point, which is, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's here by Golden Grove. So that could actually be
east. That's not going to happen. And if it did, it would not be a Cat 5 there. I really don't think so.
Yeah. But yeah, Kinston, jeez.
It's happened again.
Yeah, they definitely, winds Tuesday in Kingston. Almost said Kensington again. Here we go.
Tuesday
are
is
going
probably going to be landfall day.
Yeah, I can see that because winds are going to pick up there, and I mean, I think actually European models are not doing it justice, but they're saying about an inch an hour of rain on Tuesday. It's looking like it. An inch per 3 hours. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that sounds low, actually. We've got the
Yeah.
GFS model ready now to take a whistle-stop tour around the world. So here is how the GFS is seeing things. Well, it's initialized the storm way too weak, clearly. Initialization there is 96 miles per hour. Obviously way too low, but that's the GFS for you. As for track, though, it has really gone on board and moving much further west. You may remember the GFS was stoically going for Haiti, Dominican Republic, going sort of that direction. Eventually, the GFS started to change to just clipping Jamaica and going that way. Now it is full on bought into what the other models were saying from the get-go of the storm actually going this way and then turning and slamming into possibly western Jamaica at this point. Don't really look at those winds because it's not going to be true. It's going to be stronger than that. Just to give you a representation of those winds as well, the green, if you've not seen these graphics, those green areas, that's tropical storm force winds, so affecting the whole island. Yellow there being the hurricane force winds and that wind field. Sizable when you compare it to the island of Jamaica. About 75% of the island will receive hurricane force winds based on that forecast. And then through it goes, strengthens actually on the GFS, but I think that's nonsense. It's going to be much stronger when it reaches Jamaica, that it will be weaker on the other side, but potentially still a Category 3 landfall into Cuba, and then off it goes on its way northeastwards through the southeasternmost Bahamas, but also hurricane force winds for West Caicos there as well, maybe even major hurricane force winds, because that is actually briefly a major there. There's a little red dot showing major hurricane force winds. Then towards Bermuda, just misses storm force winds in Bermuda. It passes just east if you couldn't see the island. And then off it goes, joining a fleet of extratropical cyclones actually across the North Atlantic. There it is, loses all of its energy actually, and well, it just ends up being attached to a very long front. Look how long that front is actually, extending all the way from past the Azores and Madeira all the way up through the UK and Ireland and almost to Iceland. Really large, and what's left of Melissa is just this little area on the end of it down there. Looking into the longer range in the Atlantic, is there any other surprises on the way? Well, looks like the modelling doesn't go all the way out, unfortunately, but nothing there, really. Also active right now is Tropical Storm Sonia in the Eastern Pacific, which isn't doing very much. There it is, could strengthen a little bit more, northwestward movement, and then it dies off very quickly. Nothing else expected in the Eastern Pacific in the medium to long range. Westpac is something that we've been watching out for a while. On last night's bulletin, the GFS was expecting a Category 5 in the Philippine Sea on the 5th of November. It has also got a low chance of development for this system here, west of Palawan into the South China Sea and onto the coast of Vietnam, moving inland. What happens if that second system then? It does strengthen again, major typhoon status, but looks like only a Category 3 before moving on into the Philippines. Samar getting the landfall on the 4th of November, and then continuing westwards and actually strengthening more on the other side in the South China Sea, and it didn't go unnoticed. Another typhoon forming quite far north for this time of year as well. 7th of November there, and becomes another major typhoon just to the east of, well, southeast of Japan. Very surprising to see something that strong up there at that time of year. Indian Ocean. We are on the cusp of seeing a new tropical cyclone in the Bay of Bengal. The next name on
It
the
is a
list
tropical cyclone.
is Mantha. Is it?
Per ASCAT, yes. It is actually a tropical storm.
Interesting. We'll have to verify that, but there it goes. It certainly should be getting named soon, and off it goes towards the northwest into the coast of India. Weakens a little bit just before making that landfall, and the one on the left hand side to the west as well, that we're watching in the Arabian Sea, looks like it's just going to stay too broad and is not going to develop. We've been watching that one
Real
for
quick,
a
one
long
more
time.
thing on that. The IMD is actually forecasting a severe cyclonic storm out of that for the Bay of Bengal storm.
That's something we'll be looking at when we finish up this stream then, and maybe we'll produce an update. I'm not sure yet. And then, of course, what's left of Chenge, remnant low, all the way over here, makes it into the coast of Africa as a remnant. Not too much else to tell you about that one, and nothing else active in that basin either. So that pretty much concludes everything. Just bringing back to the rainfall expectations from the GFS model for Melissa out to 7 days. It hasn't loaded. Okay. So I can't tell you that, but I can imagine that it is still going to be similar numbers to what we were looking at yesterday, getting up towards the 40-inch mark, which is 1,000 millimeters. So, Ethan, any further thoughts on Melissa then at this point?
Extremely dangerous and could resume intensifying at any time. Keep an eye on this storm. Just because it's not intensifying in the short term does not mean that the threat is gone. It means that it's actually quite dangerous even. And even more dangerous because that means that the storm is struggling to get its act together and could get it together at any moment, which delays the peak intensity a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I'm just checking out that Bay of Bengal system. It's ambiguous at the moment, but those winds are getting up. So that should be a storm soon, and I expect we'll get a name out of the IMD, and that will be one to track for the east coast of India. We're pretty much finishing up now with this stream. I didn't even have my ending music set up, so I guess we'll just leave it at this point. We're going to flow through now, if you want to keep watching, to our automated feed, which you'll get redirected to when I press the button in just a second. Thanks to Ethan, Blaine, and Jack, and Declan, who was here earlier, for joining us on this live update. This storm is going to get stronger by the looks of things, even though big question marks about what it's currently doing. But we'll be back with another live tropical weather bulletin tonight, and possibly more updates throughout the day as well, depending on what happens. So that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon. And Melissa remains very dangerous.